A lot of people want to find this simplified information about steps how to get licensed in British Columbia.
There's lots of different information floating around out there, and it can be confusing as to what you actually need to do. So we're going to talk about all of that. We've been doing this with GOBC, helping people with this process for over 20 years. So we know these steps pretty well by this point in time. Like the back of our hand in our sleep type of thing. So
we'll try to simplify it. We'll try to make it straightforward for you. So it's step 1, step 2, step 3, so you know exactly what to do and when to do it. So step number 1 is the easiest one, and that's something that you can do from your home. You don't have to go to UBC, but you will have to register with UBC, which is the University of British Columbia, and the department that they use is
the Souter Real Estate Licensing Division. You don't have a choice but to register with them for this course, because they're the ones that give you your exam. So if you don't register with them, you don't get to take the exam, and if you don't get to take the exam, then you can't get your license.
Exactly. So that's the step number 1. We have a video specifically how to register. We just show you exactly what to press on and how to register online. You'll pay them the money. The price might change, but at this point is $11.50. That's what they charge for the last few years. So you pay them the fee, and what they will do, they will send you the big books as a package to your doorstep. So make sure that you give them the right address. Right? But that's what they will provide you with.
Now, once they send the material to you and they give you access to your online portal for your student portal, that's when you start your studies. And the requirement to be able to book your exam and go for your exam is, the first one is that you have your assignments that you need to submit. So that is a mandatory thing. Again, it's not a choice. You have to submit them all, and they give you 1 year in order to get them all done.
When you register with UBC, they give you 2 years to finish the full course. But if you don't submit those usually 20 assignments, if you're doing the full course, if you don't submit those 20 assignments, then they will kick you out of the program, and those assignments have to be submitted within a year, the first year. So again, if you don't do them within that year, then they will kick you off the program, and you will have to re-register, pay them the money again. They'll send you those books again, and it starts from the beginning, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of a crucial thing. Assignments, you can only submit 2 assignments per week. Now, this is the way that UBC controls you in some way.
How fast you can get the course finished.
So basically, if there's 20 assignments and you can only submit 2 assignments per week, so that means you'll have 10 weeks of minimum study time before you can book your exam. So those assignments have to be all submitted, and when they all submitted, that's when you have a choice to look at the UBC exam dates and then go for the exam if you're ready by then.
Yes. Now, the other requirement for being able to take the exam is what they call the ELPR requirement. So your English language proficiency requirement. So everybody has to have a basic level of English before you're able to even go take that exam.
Yes, so they call it the CELPIP test. And majority of our students, we have a lot of students, and I would say 99% of our students, doesn't matter if you are born in Canada, doesn't matter if English is your first language, what matters to them is your degree, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a bachelor degree, then you have to take this test. We have a separate video about CELPIP test, right? That's how they call it, CELPIP test. If you want to get more information about it, we explain everything, all the steps, what they want, but you have to basically go and take that test before you go and write your final exam at UBC. So basically you have to submit those 20 assignments, and you have to submit them that you pass your English test, or yes, you can speak English and you can write English. It's a pretty basic test. You need a level 7 on each of those levels. But again, we have a different videos to watch that there, but that's one of the requirements. So you cannot book your exam until 2 things happens, until the assignments are in and until your English is satisfied. Now, some people will ask, should I do my English or my English CELPIP before I register with UBC? It's up to you. You can register first and then you can do it, but we always advise you do it sooner than later.
Yes.
Right? So do it sooner so it's out of the way and you can just focus on studying for your real exam. But again, it doesn't have to happen right away. So it's up to you, as long as it's done before the exam.
Mm-hmm. So the last sort of thing that we're going to talk about is some of the other different licensing options that are out there. So if you don't have any licenses, you've never had any licenses, you're going to do the full course like we've just described to you.
Full exam, 3 hours, 100 questions, multiple choice.
Submitting assignments, satisfying your ELPR, like all of those things apply to you.
Yeah.
If you've been licensed in another province, or you already have another license, then you're going to be taking some different course options and different exam options.
So let's talk about those two.
So the first one, your supplemental.
So supplemental is for people who already have one license. So if I'm a real estate agent, right, and I'm practicing right now, I have a license that is active, and now I said, you know what, it would be nice to sit in my pajamas and to help people to get mortgages. You know, I want to get my mortgage license, or maybe I want to do a strata license or a property management license. So if I decided to get a second license, this is when I will apply for the supplemental course. So when we say the word supplemental, it only applies for people who already has one license that is active, and now they want to supplement it. They want to get a second license going, or the third one, or the fourth one.
Right.
You can have as many licenses as you
have
want.
all 4 if you want to. Yeah.
Right, so supplemental course will be shorter. You still have to study all the information, because most people, when they pass the exam, guess what happens? They forget everything.
Yes.
They forget it.
Yeah.
Right, so they will have to restudy. So a lot of our students, what they do, they take advantage of fresh information. As soon as they pass the first exam, they go for the second exam pretty much right away.
Yeah.
They want to get that supplemental going, because they know that they will forget all what we teach you, right? Everything will be forgotten within a couple of months. And that's another thing. So when you pick the school, or when you decide to choose a style of studying, if you're going to follow that UBC book, and that's what we hear a lot, students say after the first chapter, I already forget what was in the second. Like I started the second chapter, I don't remember what was in the first one.
Yeah.
Right? Timing is crucial. You can't postpone it. You can't make it too long. The longer you make it, you'll forget everything. So back to supplemental.
Yes.
It is a shorter course. Exam will be only 2 hours. There's going to be 60 questions in the exam, multiple choice. Right? UBC will show you which chapters they want you to know, and that's the chapters we will be helping you with, or you're going to be studying by yourself. Right? So that's called the supplemental course.
And a lot of people think that the supplemental exam, because it's shorter, is going to be easier than the first licensing course, and that's not true, because there are less chapters that they're testing you from. So it's just as difficult. It's just as tricky as the regular first licensing course that you would take. So you still have to be serious about it, because it is a tricky exam. So
same idea. Two exams to give you the same thing. If you fail the first
style.
exam,
Yeah.
you will have to wait for 3 months, and you go for the second exam. You fail it, they'll put you
re-register.
They'll ask you to re-register again. It is cheaper though. Right now it's $750. The price might change. We don't control UBC, but it is cheaper than the full license. But just know you cannot go for the supplemental now, right? And that's not a choice in here.
No.
Okay, so the second exemptions that we have, that we have, is when people want to challenge the exam.
Yes. So challenging the exam is different than supplemental. People get those confused all the time. And people think that they can just sign up for the challenge exam when they have no licenses at all. And that is also not an option. The challenge exam is for people who have experience related to that licensing exam, to that course.
So for example, if I was in the mortgage industry, so if I was working for the bank for the last 10 years, and that's I think what they're looking for, then I can call UBC and say, hey, I want to challenge the exam. Would you give me that exemption, right? Can I do that? So you still have to ask for that permission. Or if you've been licensed in different province, right, and you still had a current license, and or you had a license for, let's say, 20 years and you let it go, you can call the UBC and you can ask for this for their permission to challenge the exam instead of taking the full exam.
Yeah.
And when people challenge the exam, you're still going to get the UBC book. You're still going to get the same thing. The only difference with challenging is you're not going to have to submit those 20 assignments. So that means you're not limited on those 10 weeks and you can go on exam as fast as you want, right? But your exam will be still a full exam. 100 questions, 3 hours, multiple choice. It's
all the chapters.
All chapters, everything.
Yeah.
Right, so we want to make sure that you understand this. So if you're coming from different province and if you want to get licensed in BC, or if you've been in banking industry for a long time and you want to get your mortgage license, you still have to write the full exam, but you don't have to submit those 20 assignments. That's the only difference between this challenging and the full exam.
Yeah. So it's not a shorter exam. It's not an easier exam. It's not a different exam. It is still the full licensing exam that covers all of the information. So it is something that you still need to seriously study, because we've said already in some of our other videos, exam world and real world are two very different things. And sometimes the experience that you have might not translate to your exam the way that you would hope that it does. So you still have to study, you still have to put that work in and make sure that you're prepared to pass on your first attempt.
Okay. When it comes to real estate license, so if you're planning to do real estate, by the way, if you're not sure what license you want to do, we have a separate videos where I kind of explain you the difference between the real estate and mortgage, between property management and strata. So it kind of gives you an idea how the life is going to look like and what kind of money you're going to make. Yeah. So it kind of gives a good perspective. We've been in this business for a long time, so we know, right? So that's something that you might want to watch. But if you're planning to do the real estate exam, know what will happen after you pass the exam. Because for you guys, only for the real estate people, you have that one extra step that you will have to deal with,
which is the Applied Practice Course, the APC. So for real estate people, you study the course, you do the exam, you pass the exam, then you have to register for your Applied Practice Course and go through that before you get your final approval on your license. So there's 4 components to this. They're all slightly different, but that is one extra thing that you need to do in order to qualify to get that full license.
The good thing about that course is that it's not the real exam. So the hardest part of the whole course is the actual exam, the one we're teaching you for, the one we're getting you ready for, because that's the tough thing, right? Exams lately, for the last few years, they're getting tougher and tougher, trickier. There's so many things you have, and that's what we teach you always. Don't memorize things, know your information well, because honestly, you can't just wing
Skim
it.
through, wing it. It's not going to work.
That doesn't work, right? Watch the video on the 5 mistakes, right? But the applied course, we consider that as an easy thing because they're actually trying to teach you now about the contracts. And that's the beauty of it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great. So it's actually useful as opposed to the way that it used to be quite a few years ago. So they actually do teach you some good stuff. That some of the scenarios and the discussions that you have are actually pretty interesting. You'll learn about some bad stuff that people tried to do as licensees that they got in trouble for. And they're just trying to teach you how to be good people, ethical, good licensees, to treat your clients well and to be able to fill out a contract properly.
Yeah.
So you're going to go through all of those steps, and it's mandatory for real estate licensees. It's absolutely mandatory that you do this. If you don't get that applied practice course done, then you
come back to us.
You come back to square one, and you have to do everything all again. So, and you have 1 year from the day that you pass your exam to get all of the stuff done, your applied practice course, your license application, choosing a brokerage, all that kind of stuff. You have 1 year to get that all done. And if you don't do it in that 1 year, you have to start from scratch and go for the exam again. And you don't want to do that.
So since we're talking about timing, let's talk about the time. So when it comes to UBC study time, right? So if you're planning to do it on your own, I mean, we have some people that try, right? And if you can do this, good for you, but it can take you up to 2 years because that's what they give you with the deadline. That's if you do the self-study. So GOBC students, usually we have a 10-week course. Within the 10 weeks, usually our students pretty ready. We'll give you up to 4 months to finish it. So again, that's a lot of time, but usually it's up to you. So the assignment, remember, it takes 10 weeks to submit those ones. So a lot of people try to finish the whole course within those 10 weeks, cram it up, and then go for the exams. Sometimes there is a wait for the exam dates, but again, we can't tell you this because that's all up to UBC.
It changes.
They are computerized. There's written exams. There's all different options. We have a different video for that too, right? Now, back to mortgage people, strata, and the property management. After you guys pass the exam, you are done, okay? You can go make your money, choose your brokerage, and
start working.
You go. Start working, start making your money, right? That's where you change your life. For the real estate people, 2 weeks after, right? So applied course, 2 weeks. That is a must for you to do, and that's basically it. So that's pretty much everything, right? Hopefully simplified in the little parts for you, but we summarize the whole process of licensing for you, right? So pick your path. It's all up to you how you're planning to study this. If you need more help, you can call GOBC office and they will help you. They'll give you all the information. Our people are amazing.
Yeah, so helpful.
Good luck.
Yes.